Hello everyone, welcome. Today I'll be making this video for a tutorial about the Sekonic L-858D Lightmeter, also Spotmeter. This is, I believe, the only model being built nowadays that has the Spotmeter functionality, and it's the one I picked to use with zone system. I'm learning to use the zone system because I'm shooting film photography, and using a spot meter, especially with 1 degree precision, is very important for the zone system because it lets you measure light from very small areas. So how did my journey begin? At first I thought I would find many options on the market for a spot meter, but I learned that they are very rare nowadays. And I believe the L-858D is one of the only one still being made today. So I'll be honest, I wasn't very excited about the touchscreen of the L-858. I like the older Sekonic models best. They have buttons and LCD, it felt faster, easier to use, but they no longer make those, and the price on the used market were higher than a new Sekonic L858. Then I tried to purchase an older used model of spot mirrors. There are many on eBay's other websites, but the issue is that they are all 20 to 30 years old, and they no longer are calibrated to measure the light correctly. It could be, but you have no way to properly check it, and if it needs calibration, you probably won't find a technician who can do that nowadays. And another issue is that, like cameras, they have optics because they need that functionality for the spot meter. So most of them will have fungus inside because most people don't take good care of the spot meter. They leave it on their bag, and it will get the same issues that a camera lens will if you leave it on the dark, on humid places. So you probably won't find a spot meter that has a very well preserved glass and also with proper calibration. Maybe you can find it, but I wasn't going to try my luck, spend money to have to refund, so my only way forward was to purchase this Sekonic. So the first thing I went looking for the Sekonic is how I would get the zone system to work for it, and I couldn't find anything online, especially for this touchscreen model. You could find some resource for the older models. There is a way to use the button to shift the measurements, but this doesn't seem to work with this new touchscreen model. And I wanted to find a way that doesn't require the mental math to use the zone system. So after trying a lot of things and reading on the forums, I believe I have found two ways that we can use the Sekonic to uh, make our lives easier. Don't require too many mental math, and simple, reliable, and focus on the photo, which is what matters. So in this video I'll show you two ways to use the zone system with this meter. The first way is fast and easy. It's good when you're shooting, you need to set your exposure quickly, like when you place your shadow in zone 3 and take the shot. You don't care for the highlights at the moment, you want to quickly put the shadows, and everything else will fall in the correct place. And there's a second way for when you have more time. That way is what I really believe is special because it lets you measure different parts of the scene, place the zones, check the dynamic range. So I'm very happy with the second way of using this light meter, but both will have its use. So let me start with the quick method because that's the one you will use first in the field, and then we will go to the most complete method later. So let's go for the first method. This is the quick method. You know which zone you want your shadow. So you're going to meter the shadow, and you want the meter to get you an exposure value for that shadow on that zone and be done with it. That's all you care. So first I have set ISO 100. You can set the ISO that you want. We're going to check that we are in the Spotmeter functionality, and then you are going to click that range right here to go to the menus. Next, you're going to go for the set exposure compensation menu right here, and this is where you're going to need a very easy mental math to get the value that you need for your shadow. So you're going to think, which zone do I want my shadow on? So in my case, I want my shadow on zone 3. So I have to think, the meter is always metering for zone 5, like every meter ever built. So we have to think the meter is zone 5. So to go to zone 3, I go 5 to 4 minus 1, 4 to 3 minus 2. So here I set minus 2, which is zone 3 for my shadow. So I go minus 2. Okay. So now you can see here, my meter is adjusted for an exposure compensation of minus 2. So let's go pick a shadow value where I want zone 3. I'm gonna do it right now here. I'm going to pick a shadow value, and I'm going to click the measure button. Okay, so I can see right now that the meter for my shadow value of zone 3 is 1/16 of a second, f5. This is the setting already corrected for placing that shadow I measured on zone 3. I don't have to do anything else. This is putting the shadow on zone 3. Okay, it's that simple. If I want, for example, zone 2 instead of zone 3 for the shadow, I go to the same range, set exposure compensation, and I'm going to do the same math. The meter is measuring zone 5, so I want to go to zone 2. So 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2. So it's minus 3. So I put here minus 3, minus 3. Okay. So the meter has already corrected the exposure for that same measurement of minus 3 exposure compensation. So now if I want that shadow to place on zone 2, I just set my camera to 1/16 of a second, f7. That's simple. Okay, so please just don't forget that after you use this technique, remove the exposure compensation, because if you use your meter in any other way, you're going to get strange results and you don't know why. It's because you have forgotten to remove the exposure compensation. Okay, so this is the quick way to get a shadow on a specific zone, get your exposure that you want, and have fun shooting that photo. Go to the next. So now let's go to the main method to use the Sekonic Lightmeter for zone system. We're going to use the full capability of this meter and have all our values we want to analyze, get the dynamic range of the scene, see where our shadows fall, where the highlights, and anything else you might want to analyze the scene and make your best decision. So first of all, let's go here to menu and make sure that when you enter set analog scale menu, you are set to EV scale. EV scale makes it much easier to work with zone system than the measurement scale. You have the numbers based on relative to 0. It is much easier. to think and to place the values. Okay, so make sure it's set like that. Now let me place a measurement for the shadows that I want to be placed on zone 3. Okay, so I just made this measurement. So for ISO 400 at aperture 5.6, it gave me the shadow to 1/30th of a second, but this is not zone 3. This is showing me zone 5 exposure, right? So we want to be able to place that shadow on zone 3. So first of all, don't forget, every measurement you do, click on the memory button to store that value, or you're going to lose that from showing on your scale. Okay, so I have the memory of the measurement here, so click the range again, this menu here, and go to set midtone this time. This functionality is not very well explained in my opinion on the manual. It's very confusing to understand, and I have to use it my own to try to grasp what it was about. And this is how I found how to work with this functionality for the zone system. So now we want to be able to put that measurement we have on zone 5 to our zone 3. Okay, so we go to modify current midtone. Right now the meter thinks that measurement is zone 5, so we need to tell it to place it on zone 3. This is a null-based light meter. It means that zone 5 is placed on 0, it's relative to 0. So 0 on the scale, we have to think that is zone 5. If we want to go to the left, so -1 would be zone 4, -2 would be zone 3. Likewise, +1 would be 5 + 1, 6, +2, 5 + 2, zone 7. Okay, so it's the only mental math you have to do. 0 is 5, zone 5, and you go to the left or to the right. So we have to place that marker over here of our shadow on -2 to place it on zone 3. So go here and start to move that measurement until it falls on zone 3, which is -2. So we're almost there, and I believe we're there. Okay, so -2, which means our shadow are on zone 3 right now. So you can write the tell. Here you can find the exposure for shooting that picture with that shadow on zone 3. If you set f, the aperture 5.6 for ISO 400 at 1/25th of a second, you are going to get that shadow on zone 3 and all is well. Now click OK, and here it is. You are getting your shadow on zone 3, which shows -2. But we want to check the highlights. Where do our highlights are placed on this exposure if we have that shadow on zone 3? Okay, so let me make another measurement of the highlights right now. So I just took a measurement of a highlight, okay, of a light, and I need to click, don't forget, memory to store that value. Okay, so right now we can say that that highlight value is placed on zone 0 + 1 + 2, 5 + 2, zone 7. Okay, so if it's placed on +2, we know that it's zone 7. Just that easy. I have the shadow on -2 and the highlight on +2, so we just do the mental math. Okay, now let's check a highlight that is brighter than the last. Okay, this is surely going to be placed outside the dynamic range we need. So let me put that on the memory, and you can see it's so high, it's not even showing on our scale. So zone 5 will be zone 10. That's above zone 10. That's way too bright. I just spotted a light bulb I have around. So that's way too bright. It's not going to show on our shot. It's gonna be blown out. So let me pick a mid-tone here to check. So I pick this as a mid-tone. Okay, and this is going to be, I can see -1, which means 5 minus 1, zone 4. So you can see it's this easy. I have our shadows here, my mid-tone here is zone 4, my highlight is +2, which means zone 7, and you can keep metering and checking where your values fall. Okay, so this is it. Just remember that after you're done and you go to your next exposure, go to the range here. Make sure you click mid-tone clear to clear that placement of the shadow to zone 3 we did earlier. You're going to need to do that again on next time. Okay, and do that again to the memory measurement. So clear your memory. Okay, all. That's it. So now our meter is not showing anything. We are ready to go back and take new measurements. So this is it.